Could your favorite foods be silently harming your memory? Imagine forgetting why you walked into a room or struggling to recall a simple name. These moments might feel normal, but what if they're connected to the foods you eat every day? Your brain is like a supercomputer, it needs the right fuel to work properly. The food you choose can either boost your memory or harm it over time. In this video, we'll explore how certain everyday foods might be affecting your brain health. Scientists have found that some foods can cause inflammation, disrupt blood flow to the brain, or even shrink important parts like the hippocampus, your memory center. These effects don't happen overnight, but eating the wrong foods regularly can lead to forgetfulness and even increase the risk of serious conditions like dementia. We'll break down 5 common foods that could be silently damaging your memory. From sugary drinks to fried snacks, you'll learn why these items might not be as harmless as they seem. But don't worry, we'll also share tips on how to make smarter choices for a healthier brain. The food we eat has a direct impact on how our brain works, and understanding this connection can help us make smarter choices every day. Think of your brain as the control center of your body. It's responsible for everything from learning and memory to emotions and decision-making. But just like any machine, it needs the right fuel to function properly. That fuel comes from the nutrients in the food we eat. When you eat healthy foods, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fish, your brain gets the energy it needs to perform at its best. These foods are packed with vitamins, antioxidants, and healthy fats that protect brain cells from damage and keep them working smoothly. For example, berries are rich in antioxidants that fight oxidative stress, a process that can harm your brain over time. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish help build strong connections between neurons, which are the cells responsible for transmitting information in your brain. On the other hand, unhealthy foods can slow down your brain's performance. Diets high in saturated fats and sugars can cause inflammation in the brain and even damage neurons. This inflammation makes it harder for your brain to form new connections or repair itself after injury. Over time, this can lead to memory loss or even serious conditions like dementia. Another important factor is blood flow to the brain. Foods like leafy greens and beets improve circulation by boosting oxygen levels in the blood. This helps your brain stay sharp and focused. Meanwhile, sugary drinks and fried foods can clog blood vessels, reducing oxygen supply and making it harder for your brain to function. Even hydration plays a role in memory and concentration. Watermelon, for example, is not only hydrating but also packed with lycopene, an antioxidant that supports brain health. Dehydration, even mild cases, can make you feel tired and forgetful because your brain doesn't get enough water to perform essential tasks. The connection between diet and memory is so strong that researchers have identified specific diets that benefit both the heart and the brain. The Mediterranean diet is one of them. It's rich in fruits, vegetables, olive oil, nuts, and fish. This diet improves blood vessel health and reduces inflammation, which protects both your heart and your mind. But how does this all work? Scientists have discovered that certain nutrients help neurons grow and repair themselves. For example, omega-3 fatty acids promote neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons, which is essential for learning and memory. On the flip side, unhealthy diets trigger stress hormones that activate microglia, cells in the brain that cause inflammation when overstimulated. This inflammation disrupts communication between neurons and can lead to cognitive problems. Even short-term consumption of unhealthy foods can harm your brain's performance. Studies show that eating too much sugar or fat can cause brain fog, making it harder to focus or think clearly. Over time, these poor choices add up, increasing the risk of memory loss or diseases like Alzheimer's. So why does all this matter? Because every meal you eat is an opportunity to support your brain health, or harm it. By choosing nutrient-rich foods like avocados, whole grains, fatty fish, and berries instead of processed snacks or sugary drinks, you're giving your brain what it needs to stay strong. Ready to find out which everyday foods might be silently harming your memory? Let's explore the first culprit. Refined carbs. Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, pasta, pastries, and rice, might seem harmless, but they can quietly affect how your brain works. These foods are stripped of their natural nutrients during processing, leaving behind what experts call empty calories. While they might give you a quick burst of energy, the long-term effects on your brain are far less beneficial. Let's dive into why these everyday carbs could be harming your memory. When you eat refined carbs, your body quickly breaks them down into sugar. This causes a spike in your blood sugar levels, followed by a crash. These ups and downs don't just make you feel tired, they also affect your brain. High blood sugar levels can lead to inflammation in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. Over time, this inflammation can damage brain cells and make it harder for your brain to form new connections. This means that even small amounts of refined carbs eaten regularly could slowly chip away at your ability to remember things. Studies have shown that diets high in refined carbs can impair cognitive function in both children and adults. For example, one study found that children who ate more refined carbs scored lower on intelligence tests compared to those who ate healthier foods. Another study revealed that elderly people who consumed a large portion of their daily calories from carbohydrates had nearly double the risk of developing mild cognitive impairment or dementia. These findings highlight how refined carbs don't just affect short-term memory, they can also increase the risk of long-term brain problems. But why do refined carbs have such a strong impact on the brain? One reason is their effect on insulin. Insulin is a hormone that helps regulate blood sugar levels and transport glucose to the brain for energy. When you eat too many refined carbs, your body produces more insulin to handle the sugar overload. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, where your body stops responding properly to insulin. Insulin resistance has been linked to cognitive decline and is even considered a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, sometimes called type 3 diabetes because of its connection to abnormal insulin levels. Another problem with refined carbs is oxidative stress. This occurs when there's an imbalance between free radicals, harmful molecules, and antioxidants in your body. Refined carbs contribute to oxidative stress by increasing inflammation and damaging cells, including those in the brain. Oxidative stress has been connected to memory loss and other degenerative brain conditions like dementia. Refined carbs also affect blood flow to the brain. Foods like whole grains and vegetables improve circulation by keeping blood vessels healthy, but refined carbs do the opposite. They can clog blood vessels and reduce oxygen supply to the brain, making it harder for neurons to function properly. Poor circulation doesn't just make you feel sluggish, it also impacts how well your brain performs tasks like remembering names or solving problems. Even though carbohydrates are an important source of energy for the brain, not all carbs are created equal. Whole carbs, like those found in fruits, vegetables, and legumes, contain fiber and nutrients that support healthy brain function. Refined carbs lack these benefits because they've been stripped during processing. This means that eating whole carbs instead of refined ones can help protect your memory and keep your mind sharp. So what can you do? Start by swapping out refined carbs for healthier options. Choose whole grain bread instead of white bread or brown rice instead of white rice. Add more vegetables and fruits to your meals, they're packed with fiber and antioxidants that support brain health. By making small changes like these, you'll be giving your brain the nutrients it needs to stay strong. Are sugary drinks just as bad as refined carbs when it comes to harming your memory? Let's find out next. Sugary drinks. Sugary drinks like sodas, fruit juices, and energy drinks might seem refreshing and harmless, but they can quietly harm your brain in ways you might not realize. These beverages are packed with sugar, especially fructose, which has been linked to serious problems with memory and brain health. Let's explore how sugary drinks could be affecting your ability to think clearly and remember things. When you drink sugary beverages, the sugar enters your bloodstream quickly, causing a spike in blood sugar levels. This might give you a temporary burst of energy, but it's followed by a sharp drop that leaves you feeling tired and craving more sugar. This roller coaster effect doesn't just affect your energy, it impacts your brain too. Over time, consuming too much sugar can lead to inflammation in the brain, particularly in the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. Studies have shown that people who drink sugary beverages regularly tend to have smaller hippocampal volume and poorer memory performance. One study found that consuming just one sugary drink per day was linked to brain shrinkage equivalent to aging 3.5 years faster than normal. Imagine losing years of brain health simply because of what you drink. Researchers also discovered that people who consume sugary drinks frequently perform worse on memory tests compared to those who avoid them. This means that even small amounts of these drinks can slowly harm your ability to recall information or learn new things. Sugary drinks don't just affect memory, they also disrupt how your brain processes information. Sugar triggers erratic firing of brain cells, making it harder for neurons to communicate effectively. This can lead to brain fog, where you feel confused or struggle to focus. Over time, this disruption can contribute to cognitive decline and increase the risk of conditions like dementia. Another problem with sugary drinks is their impact on the gut microbiome, the collection of bacteria in your stomach and intestines that plays a key role in overall health. Research shows that consuming too much sugar can upset the balance of good bacteria in your gut, which is closely connected to brain function through something called the gut-brain axis. An unhealthy gut microbiome can lead to inflammation that affects not just your stomach but also your brain, worsening memory problems. It's not just adults who are at risk. Children and teenagers who consume sugary drinks are more likely to experience memory issues later in life. Studies on adolescent rats showed that those fed sugary beverages had trouble navigating mazes designed to test spatial memory. This suggests that high sugar intake during critical periods of development can have lasting effects on brain health. Many people turn to diet sodas as an alternative, thinking they're a healthier option. However, research shows that artificially sweetened drinks may be even worse for your brain. People who drink diet soda daily are nearly 3 times as likely to develop stroke and dementia compared to those who avoid it. Artificial sweeteners can disrupt insulin regulation and increase inflammation, further harming cognitive function. So what can you do? Start by cutting back on sugary beverages and replacing them with healthier options like water or herbal tea. If you crave sweetness, try natural alternatives like stevia, which has been shown to have less harmful effects on memory compared to sugar or artificial sweeteners. By making small changes in what you drink, you'll be protecting your brain from long-term damage. Fried foods. Fried foods like French fries, fried chicken, and donuts may be delicious, but they can quietly harm your brain in ways you might not expect. These crispy treats are often cooked in oils that lose their healthy properties when heated to high temperatures, especially if the oil is reused multiple times. Instead of providing nutrients, fried foods introduce harmful compounds into your body that can affect not just your waistline but also your brain health. When food is deep fried, it absorbs unhealthy fats and forms substances called trans fats. These fats are known to cause inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. Inflammation in the brain can disrupt communication between neurons, the cells responsible for processing and storing information. Over time, this can lead to memory problems and difficulty concentrating. Studies have shown that people who eat diets high in fried foods tend to score lower on cognitive tests measuring learning and memory. But the damage doesn't stop there. Fried foods can also affect how your body transports important nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids to the brain. Omega-3s are essential for maintaining healthy brain cells and supporting memory function. However, eating fried foods reduces the availability of these fatty acids, leaving your brain vulnerable to degeneration. Research conducted on lab rats revealed that consuming fried food led to neurodegeneration, damage to brain tissue, and even passed these effects on to their offspring. This suggests that the impact of fried foods could be long-lasting and even affect future generations. Another way fried foods harm your brain is by disrupting gut health. The gut and brain are closely connected through something called the gut-brain axis. When you eat fried foods, they can upset the balance of bacteria in your gut, leading to the release of toxins that travel to the brain and cause inflammation. This gut imbalance can worsen memory problems and even increase the risk of mood disorders like anxiety and depression. What's even more concerning is how quickly fried foods can start affecting your brain. A study found that older adults who consumed a high-fat diet experienced memory issues and brain inflammation in just 3 days. This shows that the negative effects of fried foods on brain health don't take years to develop, they can begin almost immediately. The high levels of sodium in many fried snacks also contribute to brain fog. Sodium increases blood pressure, which restricts blood flow to the brain. Without enough oxygen and nutrients reaching your brain cells, it becomes harder to focus or remember things clearly. Over time, this lack of proper blood flow can lead to serious cognitive decline. So what can you do? Start by cutting back on fried foods and replacing them with healthier options like baked or grilled dishes. Swap French fries for roasted sweet potatoes or opt for air-fried alternatives that use less oil. Incorporating more whole grains, vegetables, and omega-3 rich foods like salmon into your diet can help counteract the damage caused by fried snacks. Artificial sweeteners, like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin, are often marketed as healthier alternatives to sugar because they contain fewer calories. However, these substitutes may not be as harmless as they seem, especially when it comes to your brain. While they might help you avoid weight gain or manage diabetes, research shows that artificial sweeteners can negatively impact memory, learning, and overall brain function. Let's explore how these sweet substitutes could be quietly harming your mind. Artificial sweeteners work by tricking your taste buds into thinking you're consuming sugar. They are hundreds of times sweeter than regular sugar but lack the calories that real sugar provides. This might sound like a win-win situation, but your brain doesn't see it that way. When artificial sweeteners enter your body, they fail to fully activate the brain's reward pathways, the system responsible for making you feel good after eating something sweet. This partial activation confuses your brain and can lead to what scientists call caloric frustration. Essentially, your brain expects energy from the sweetness but doesn't receive it, which can disrupt how your brain processes information and forms memories. One of the biggest concerns with artificial sweeteners is their link to memory problems. Studies have shown that regular consumption of sweeteners like aspartame can impair short-term memory and make it harder for the brain to learn new things. For example, research on mice revealed that even moderate amounts of aspartame cause difficulties in spatial learning, like remembering how to navigate a maze, and these effects lasted for weeks. The problem isn't just limited to short-term memory. Artificial sweeteners have also been associated with long-term cognitive decline and an increased risk of dementia. Another issue with artificial sweeteners is their effect on insulin regulation. Even though they don't contain sugar, artificial sweeteners can still cause spikes in insulin levels. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your body stops responding properly to insulin. Insulin resistance has been linked to Alzheimer's disease and other forms of cognitive decline because it disrupts how glucose, your brain's main energy source, is delivered to brain cells. Artificial sweeteners also impact gut health, which is closely connected to brain function through the gut-brain axis. Consuming these sweeteners can alter the balance of bacteria in your gut, leading to inflammation that affects both your digestive system and your brain. This inflammation can worsen memory problems and even contribute to mood disorders like anxiety and depression. What's even more alarming is the potential generational effects of artificial sweeteners. Studies have found that mice exposed to aspartame passed on memory deficits to their offspring, suggesting that the negative impacts of these substances could be inherited. This raises serious questions about the long-term safety of artificial sweeteners and their impact on future generations. But not all sugar substitutes are bad for your brain. Research shows that natural alternatives like stevia may be a better choice. Unlike artificial sweeteners, stevia doesn't disrupt insulin levels or cause inflammation in the gut. It's extracted from a plant and has been shown to have no significant impact on memory or cognitive function in studies. So what can you do? If you're trying to cut down on sugar, consider using natural alternatives like stevia or honey instead of artificial sweeteners. Drinking water or herbal tea instead of diet sodas is another great way to protect your brain health while staying hydrated. By making simple swaps, you can avoid the harmful effects of artificial sweeteners and support better memory and learning. Excessive alcohol. Excessive alcohol consumption might seem like a way to relax or have fun, but it can silently harm your brain in ways that go far beyond the short-term buzz. While having a drink occasionally may not cause major problems, heavy or regular drinking can lead to serious memory issues and long-term damage to your brain's health. Let's explore how alcohol affects your memory and why drinking too much can be dangerous for your mind. When you drink alcohol, it directly impacts your brain's ability to function. Alcohol interferes with chemical signals between brain cells, called neurons, which are responsible for processing information and forming memories. This is why people often experience slurred speech, slowed reflexes, and poor decision-making after drinking. But the effects don't end there. Alcohol also disrupts the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for transferring information from short-term memory to long-term storage. This disruption can lead to blackouts, periods where you are awake and functioning but unable to remember anything afterward. Essentially, alcohol blocks your brain's ability to save memories during these moments. Over time, heavy drinking causes even more serious problems. Long-term alcohol use can lead to neurotoxicity, where neurons become overstimulated and eventually burn out. This damage slows down the pathways in your brain that connect different regions, making it harder for you to think clearly or recall information. Chronic alcohol use also leads to brain shrinkage, reducing the volume of both gray matter, the cell bodies, and white matter, the pathways between cells. This shrinkage affects areas responsible for memory, learning, and reasoning, leaving heavy drinkers at risk of cognitive decline and even dementia. One of the reasons alcohol is so harmful is its impact on vitamin B1 thiamine, a nutrient essential for brain function. Heavy drinkers often suffer from thiamine deficiency because alcohol interferes with how the body absorbs nutrients from food. Without enough thiamine, the brain struggles to produce energy for its cells, leading to conditions like Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, a severe disorder that causes memory loss, confusion, and even coma if left untreated. Another danger of excessive alcohol use is its effect on blood flow to the brain. Alcohol raises blood pressure and damages blood vessels over time, reducing oxygen supply to brain cells. Without enough oxygen, neurons cannot function properly, leading to slower thinking and weaker memory. This lack of blood flow also increases the risk of strokes, which can cause permanent damage to areas of the brain responsible for memory and decision-making. Alcohol doesn't just harm adults, it can have lasting effects on teenagers as well. Since their brains are still developing, excessive drinking during adolescence can cause irreversible damage to areas involved in learning and impulse control. Studies show that teens who binge drink are more likely to struggle with memory problems later in life because their brains are more sensitive to alcohol's toxic effects. Even moderate drinking carries risks over time. Research has found that people who consume just 4 drinks per day experience significant shrinkage in the hippocampus compared to non-drinkers. This shrinkage directly affects memory and reasoning abilities, showing that even small amounts of alcohol can have long-term consequences if consumed regularly. So what can you do? The best way to protect your brain is by limiting alcohol intake or avoiding it altogether. If you do drink, try not to binge or drink on an empty stomach. These habits increase the likelihood of blackouts and other harmful effects on your memory. Staying hydrated and eating nutrient-rich foods can also help minimize some of alcohol's negative impacts on your body. But what happens when someone stops drinking after years of heavy use? While some damage may be permanent, studies show that quitting alcohol can improve cognitive function over time. The brain has an amazing ability to heal itself when given proper care through a healthy diet, regular exercise, and mental stimulation. We've just explored 5 everyday foods that could be quietly affecting your memory and brain health: refined carbs like white bread and pastries, sugary drinks such as sodas and energy drinks, fried foods including French fries and fried chicken, artificial sweeteners found in diet sodas and sugar-free snacks, and excessive alcohol consumption. Each of these can cause inflammation, disrupt brain function, or reduce important nutrients your brain needs to stay sharp. The good news is, you have the power to protect your brain by making smarter food choices. Try to limit or avoid these harmful foods and instead focus on a brain-friendly diet. Incorporate leafy greens like spinach and kale, which are packed with antioxidants and vitamins. And fatty fish such as salmon or mackerel, rich in omega-3 fatty acids that support memory and learning. Don't forget berries, they're full of antioxidants that fight brain aging. Whole grains, nuts, and plenty of water also help keep your brain functioning at its best. Now it's your turn. Have you noticed any changes in your memory after adjusting your diet? Or are you planning to make some healthy swaps? Share your thoughts, experiences, or questions in the comments below. Let's support each other on this journey to better brain health. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tips on living your healthiest life.